What's going on, noobs? I am the Perpetual Noob, and welcome back to another Hollow Knight Silksong first win boss video. Today we're talking about, I think, the 11th, truly, boss that I defeated in my first journey through Farloom. We are talking about currently my favorite boss in all of Hollow Knight Silksong. We are talking about today Phantom. And as I've said, they are my favorite boss in the game so far, even after all the bosses up to this point and all the bosses I have encountered since. Their whole vibe, the music, oh my god, the music for their boss fight is so good. They're playing this big organ. There's so much drama. They are clearly like a reference to the Phantom of the Opera with the partial mask, and they just are constantly like acting all cool and collected, yet they're very like not exactly frantic, but they're very intense, and there's just so much cool stuff happening in this fight. I love it. They also did beat me up a lot. It did take a good many attempts to finally get that first victory, but I enjoyed the fight so much that I kind of didn't care, because like it's just so cool. Everything about it is just so much fun. They fight similarly to Lace, which I say that with a question mark, even though I know kind of or have an idea of like why, and we'll definitely get into more of that in the boss discussion. Phantom does have a lot of attacks. They have a ground pin throw, an aerial pin throw, a combo attack, a parry and riposte. They have this star call thing, which we'll get into in a moment because we're going to go through the other ones first. So the pin throw, Phantom can do this either from the ground or in the air. If they do it from the ground, they're going to throw their pin across a good chunk of the arena and then dash to it. They'll catch their pin, and then they actually continue to glide forward with some forward momentum and thrust all at the same time. So it gives them a little bit more range. If they're throwing their pin from the air, they just throw it towards us. Again, they're trying to target us. They'll throw it towards us, and then they'll dash to it, and then they'll land. Their combo attack is just like a 3 lunge move where they just move across the arena a little bit. The parry and riposte, that is super dangerous. They can do this on the ground or in the air. That was terrifying when I first learned that. Oh my god. And if we trigger the riposte, they will do this, at least on the ground. It's a very wide area of effect where they will hit multiple times. They will reach out and hit multiple times. So typically, if I got caught in it, I was taking at least 2 masks of damage. I don't think it can hit a third time. I never encountered that, and I got hit by this thing a lot. Tools will trigger the riposte as well as us hitting them. Gosh, that thing was intense. I found that like the best way to avoid it, if I did trigger the riposte, was to like get in the air as fast as possible. Like if I triggered it on the ground, jump. And sometimes I'd have to jump and float because the attack can last that long. Otherwise, I was going to get hit. Like I found I couldn't dash out of the range of it. Like I couldn't trigger the riposte and then run away fast enough. So it was real scary. That's a real scary one, and it's real tough to kind of catch when Phantom's going to do that, because it is just a quick defensive stance. They're now in the parry stance. I mean, messy, but still just so cool. They're just so cool. Their star call attack. It's a wide beam of light that begins to kind of form in a space in the arena. This attack does track us. We're gonna see this little star kind of form on the ground. That shows up where we kind of were whenever the attack is figuring out where Hornet is. And we'll get into more of that in the boss discussion as I kind of go over footage frame by frame, which is what I do for my boss discussions. And then a short while later, Phantom slams to the ground with this huge beam of light. Just blam! It looks so ridiculous and so cool. It also does 2 masks of damage. Now, those are like the only 2 things, like the riposte and the star call, which will do 2 masks in some way. I mean, technically the combo will also do multiple masks. Like if you do get hit multiple times, you can lose multiple masks. But for the most part, everything else about the fight, like Phantom's own hurt box, the pin, they all do only one mask, thankfully. Phantom also can be stunned, which is very handy, and that stun can actually interrupt them going into their phase transition. And their phase transition is this like kind of almost a dung defender sort of thing, where they go into this almost a frenzy and they will do the star call attack in rapid succession, like several times in a row, just slam, 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 slam. And then once they're through that and we've survived it, then we get into phase 2. And in phase 2, the arena is now much like full of exhaust, and Phantom's attacks don't really seem to change much. The biggest change is that they will sometimes teleport rather than run around the arena. So sometimes they'll teleport and then throw a pin, or they'll teleport into a star call. But that really seems to be the only major change. I don't think there really is like a speed up in frequency or anything like that. Going back to the beginning of the fight, again, the absolute drama of this queen. They come down starting the fight in like this big blast of exhaust, steam, whatever it is, and we can't get hits in there. Like Phantom does show up at some point in amongst all the exhaust, and I tried to get hits in early on to be like, oh, let me get some damage, that'll be great. And no, we just get hit by the steam, and it's I don't know. I think you can maybe get hits in on Phantom, probably with something with a bit longer reach and stay safe, but with the Beast Crest, which is the crest I was using because I still love the way the Beast Crest plays, even though it's kind of probably one of the least good crests, I'll say. Maybe I still love it. I still love it. It's just a fun crest to me, but we probably need something with a bit longer range, and then you could probably hit Phantom when they do show up, because they do show up in that gout of steam, exhaust, whatever that is. A couple other things that I kind of learned during the fight is don't trap yourself in the corner. Try to stay towards the center of the arena, especially once Phantom starts using the Star Call attack, which they don't start using until some amount of damage has been dealt to them. Like, they don't start with the Star Call attack. That will come in later, before phase 2, but will come in at some point, but not the beginning. But it's very easy to get yourself trapped in a corner with a Star Call, because you're running and then you're now trapped between it and the wall, and then you're going to get hit for 2, and it's obnoxious. So do your best to stay in the center of the arena if you can. I found that the best times to heal were during like a pin throw, because again, the pin throw does take a bit of time for Phantom to complete. We already know where the pin's going to go. We can already kind of see where the pin is going to end in terms of like a ground version. So I found that those were some really good times to get a heal in. And again, I mean heal as in just a binding. I know that for Beast Crest, it's a completely different setup. Either that or heal like after Phantom slams down with the Star Call, so get out of the way of the Star Call and then heal, because that attack takes a bit of time. Or of course when Phantom is stunned. And again, when Phantom is stunned, look at them. Look at them. Look at the drama. The drama. It's so great. I love them so much. In my first victory, I did find that the Sting Shard was still a very useful tool. The threefold pin was another very useful tool. Probably just a straight up regular pin, the one-shot pin is also probably a really useful one, because I was essentially using that like when they would land from a Star Call and I just throw a couple in there. Again, tools will activate the riposte, so sometimes the Sting Shard would activate a riposte when I didn't want it to, and that could always be a problem, but I still found them to be useful enough. And I also found that being in the air, doing aerial attacks or like the downward attack, the down slash for Beast Crest was actually a fairly useful tactic for getting in a hit, though that would seem to get Phantom into a mode of like, okay, well, I'm going to jump into an aerial parry. So just heads up, the more aerial attacks you do, the more likely Phantom's going to leap into the air to try to parry that. I also found that I could get, like, I started to get the timing down, because the fight very much is another dance-like fight where Phantom will do something, we will do something, Phantom will do something, we will do something. And I found that I was getting the timing down of, like, kind of short hopping over a ground pin throw and landing an attack on Phantom's back as they went underneath me, you know, or they would dash backwards, or they do a three-piece combo and I would do a pogo onto them. It really was a fight of, like, they do an attack, I get maybe 1, maybe 2 hits in. They do an attack, I get 1, maybe 2. Again, just back and forth, back and forth. And I really, really love fights like that. And I think Phantom is just, oh, so good. Such a good fight. I loved it so much. And at the very end of the fight, when we beat Phantom, it's the drama doesn't end, because it's not just a simple, oh, and they explode and that's the fight. No, we get at the end, like, super epic anime, like, Kurosawa, you know, clash at the end, where we're both, like, coming at each other, and we then have to do a parry, and we get the parry, and that's it. And then Phantom gets, like, the one, like, wound on them, like in a, you know, those epic clashes where they both run past each other and they both drawn their swords, and only one of them got hit. And then the blood just starts spewing everywhere, and in this case it's Silk, and then Phantom's all like, ah, and then psh, an explosion of Silk, and the fight is over. Oh, I love this fight so much. That was how I got my first win against Phantom. Thank you all for being here, noobs. I really appreciate you all. Please let me know your thoughts about Phantom in the comments below. And I am the Perpetual Noob, and I will see you all next time.